Welcome to this edition of Snowman in the Morning Extra, which is why you're hearing me in the afternoon. Snowman is here with you, and I want to welcome, and it is my pleasure to welcome the voice of the Indianapolis Colts, Mr. Matt Taylor. Big one coming on Sunday. What's up, Matt? Great to have you.
Hey, what's happening? How we doing?
I'm doing good. Happy New Year, my friend.
Yeah, you do. You do.
Okay, we know what the stakes are. Big one on Sunday. Win and you're in. Simple as that for the Colts.
That's right. It's sort of a mulligan, right? It's clinch game 2.0 or the sequel
Mm-hmm.
or whatever you want to call it, right? After not being able to get the job done last Sunday against the Raiders, to come back and still have a chance to, you know, be in control of your own destiny and clinch a playoff spot. It's a pretty rare scenario that the Colts are in. They're very lucky. They're very thankful that last week wasn't the death nail for them. It's almost a blessing that there are 18 games or 17 games, 18 weeks in the schedule this year, so the Colts get a chance to be in control of their own destiny. If they win, they're in the playoffs. But the most unfortunate part of that game last week is that they now are no longer in control of their seeding, right? Because last
Right.
week, had they won that game, they probably are the 5 seed in the conference, which means they're the best wild card team, and they'll play the worst division winner. A win on Sunday gets them in the playoffs, but there's a lot of other scenarios in play and a lot of other games, in fact, 3 other games that will dictate and determine which seed they are. They could be 5, they could be 6, they could be 7. A lot still on the line here in Week 18.
Yeah, a lot still rides on the line for the Colts, but I know one thing has got to get to you, and it's gotten to me, and we've seen it quite a few times across the NFL. The Colts had this game in hand when they took the lead on that miraculous catch by T.Y. Hilton, but they let the Raiders escape.
They let them hang around. You're exactly right. The Colts started off slow. I mean, they were down 10-0, and then kind of found their footing there in the middle part of that game. The last 4 minutes of the first half and the first drive of the third quarter were just outstanding execution by the Colts. They outscored them 14-0 in that stretch and led 17-13. And you're exactly right. A couple of chances there late in the third quarter and early on in the fourth quarter, the Colts had a chance to really kind of put the death nail in the Raiders at that point, get a touchdown and go up by 2 scores. I think had the Colts done that, they go on to win that game. And there's a lot of things you can look at and kind of nitpick. I mean, when you lose a game by 3 at the buzzer, there's a lot of things you can look at and say, had we done this better? Special teams, untimely penalties, not being able to convert either inside or near the red zone, that was a problem. But the biggest thing was the Colts, who are typically so good at converting points off of takeaways. They had 2 interceptions off of Derek Carr. They got no points off of those interceptions. So no points on those ensuing drives. That was a big deal for the Colts because they lead the NFL in takeaways on defense, and they lead the NFL in points off of turnovers. It's been a big hallmark of this team all season long, and they got nothing to show for it last Sunday.
And it's what you said, 2 interceptions, and they got no points. If they convert one of those or both into touchdowns, they walk away with the win and control of their own destiny. But as it stands, they win, and they're in. Their seeding is going to be determined by outside factors, yes, but they're playing the Jacksonville Jaguars. They're in Jacksonville. We know the recent history. The Jaguars have given the Colts a lot of problems down in Florida, but this time with this confident Colts team, especially after what happened last week and having a bull of a running back in Jonathan Taylor, you got to feel good with your chances.
You feel good. You feel good because I think it's a little bit of a silver lining, maybe a blessing in disguise. You never want to go that route after a loss, but maybe it proves to be a little bit of a wake-up call to this team in Week 17 going into the last game of the season. You've won 3 games in a row up until last Sunday. You're feeling good. You've won 7 of the last 9, and you're feeling invincible, like nobody can beat you if you play your best. But I think that game serves as a little bit of a reset button on, hey, just because we're the better team on paper doesn't mean we can just show up and they're going to give us the win. This is the NFL. They've got really good players on every sideline. They've got professionals, and they've got guys that are in this league for a reason. Same thing applies with Jacksonville coming up this weekend. I know they're 2-14. I know they've lost 8 straight games. I understand all of that. If they lose on Sunday, they're going to get the first overall pick of the draft for the second straight year. But I'm just telling you, there's something about a team that is kind of playing out the string, and they're looking at the calendar. And now that they've reached the end of the season, the very last day, the very last game, there's just something about showing up and saying, screw it. Let's just go out and play, and let's play free. Let's play hungry. I understand we're playing for our professional lives, so to speak, but this is the last time we're all going to be together. Let's just go out and have fun. And I think there's something dangerous about a team that has nothing to lose in a game where they're trying to play spoiler. The Colts have to be sharp. They have to bring their best game and put their best foot forward in this contest coming up on Sunday. Otherwise, it's going to be a repeat of last week where the Colts, didn't start off fast, and the Raiders were the more hungry team, and they played well to start the game and to finish the game. They certainly were the team that kind of bookended the game with a good performance. So the Raiders played their A game, and the Colts maybe played their B-C game. It's a big reason why they lost last Sunday. It can't happen again down in Jacksonville.
And surrendering not only the game-winning field goal, but 23 points after they surrendered only 16 in Arizona. Time now for our keys of the game, driven by Ford, the official vehicle of Snowman in the morning. And you just mentioned the biggest one, starting fast, and that's especially true on offense for the Indianapolis Colts.
Yeah, got to start fast. I mean, this is a team that routinely does that, and it was a little bit of an uncharacteristic move to get down early 10-0. Like I said, this is an offense that has the third most points in the NFL in the first quarter and the second most points in the first half of games in the NFL this season. So got to get off to a fast start, and on offense, it should be a game where the Colts are able to control the line of scrimmage. You're getting Eric Fisher back, so it's going to be the first time in a long time the Colts have all 5 of their starters on the offensive line intact at the same time. Eric Fisher, Quentin Nelson, Ryan Kelly, Mark Glowinski, and Braden Smith. So that should bode well for a guy like Jonathan Taylor to have a big game. And if you look at what the Jaguars are doing on defense right now, they're not stopping the run very efficiently. They're giving up 157 rushing yards per game in the last month, which is 31st in the NFL. And you got to win the takeaway battle. You got to win the turnover margin this game. One of these teams is plus 16 in turnover margin. The other team is minus 22. I'll let you figure out which team is which.
Yeah.
So obviously you're talking about two teams on different ends of the spectrum in terms of not giving it away and taking it away, which is the Colts. That's what they do. They have a high propensity of getting turnovers on defense. So win the turnover battle, run the ball well, and then in the kicking game, shore some things up, right? I mean, Hunter Renfrow had a kickoff return of 35 yards and a punt return of 41. Very uncharacteristic letdowns in the return game for the Colts on defense on special teams last week. So got to shore that up. I think if they do those couple of things, I think they win the football game.
Those are our keys to the game, driven by Ford, the official vehicle of Snowman in the morning. Visit your local Ford dealer and get a great deal on a vehicle today. He is Matt Taylor, the voice of the Indianapolis Colts. Bring us home a playoff clincher, my man. We will be tuned in from this side.
I appreciate you. Thank you very much.
That's Matt Taylor, the voice of the Colts. The Colts know what they have to do. They must win in Jacksonville to clinch the playoff berth. Doesn't this remind you of 2018 when they had to go to Tennessee and beat Derrick Henry and clinch a playoff berth then? 3 years later, they're on the road again. They're playing the Jacksonville Jaguars. If they run the ball very effectively and they start effectively, there should be no problem with me saying the Colts will have that last spot after Sunday's game in Jacksonville. That's the extra for this Friday. I'm back on Monday to wrap up Week 18 with Cole Johnson and company. Thanks for watching, everybody.